In this edition of the Bucs Daily MinuteCast, Gisele finally breaks silence on Tom Brady's decision to come out of retirement for at least one last season. Tom House says Bill Belichick asked him why he shouldn't trade Tom Brady at age 36. And head coach Todd Bowles says he doesn't think Chris Godwin's injury is as serious as it looks. We'll talk about all of that and more next on this edition of the Bucs Daily MinuteCast. Keep it right here.
MinuteCast Media.
10,000!
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers MinuteCast starts right now.
Bucs on 3, 1, 2, 3, Bucs!
This is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers MinuteCast. Well, hello and welcome into your midweek edition of the Bucs Daily MinuteCast. I'm so glad you decided to join me today. As always, this podcast is free and available on all of the major platforms. You can find this podcast on the Bucs Report. Check them out online, bucsreport.com. You can find this podcast on YouTube. Just search Bucs Report. And of course, you can find this podcast wherever you find your audio podcasts. My name is Dan Holme. You can find me on Twitter. It's at DanCaps218. So in this episode, we are going to talk about the very latest from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What is going on in the world of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? What is the latest on Chris Godwin? We'll talk about that in the show. We're also going to talk about how Gisele, Tom Brady's wife, finally broke her silence about what happened with Tom Brady and what her thoughts are on Tom unretiring. We'll then also talk about how Tom House says Bill Belichick asked him why he shouldn't trade Tom Brady at the age of 36. But let's get it going here with the news surrounding your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Head coach Todd Bowles says he doesn't think Chris Godwin's hamstring injury is as serious as originally thought, and he hopes Godwin will be back sooner than later. And that is some great news out there. I know, chances are if you were watching the game and you saw Chris Godwin limping on the side of the field, you're like, uh-oh, here we go. He pushed it. He pushed it too hard. He pushed it too fast. He's re-injured his knee all over again. Well, as it turns out, it was a hamstring injury that he faced there, and it does seem like everything is going to be okay with him. I guess, it's only Wednesday today. We have all the way up until Sunday to hear about the latest on Chris Godwin's condition, but as it stands right now, it is a hamstring issue that he has and not an aggravation to his knee. Todd Bowles says Donovan Smith suffered a hyperextended elbow, and it will be a pain tolerance issue. He's very sore today, and he's another one of the guys out there that we really hope can make a return because, Donovan Smith is a bit of a four-leaf clover. You can't just plug and play with anyone. We've seen how that's worked with the Bucs on the line where they've tried to put Hainsey in as center. And, there's just a bit of a disparity between some of these first players and second string players. So it's going to be interesting to see what shakes out with Donovan Smith. Todd Bowles says the Saints defense has pretty much solved us in recent seasons, and we have to crack that code. And if you guys got a chance to watch that game against the Saints, I was watching the game. And why do I watch a Saints game for? Well, they're both in the NFC South, but from a distance, I want to observe and I want to see what Jameis Winston has in the tank. I saw what Jameis had in the tank for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And, a lot of people like to, talk about his many interceptions, but they also overlook some of his great stats that he had on this team. You could make the argument that Jameis Winston was a horrible quarterback. And, it would be hard to argue with that in certain regards, but he broke certain records on this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team as well. You got to think that this isn't the same team present day right now than when Jameis was here. There is a certain magnetism to Tom Brady that drew in a lot of these all-star caliber players. The argument could be made is what kind of quarterback would have Jameis Winston been if he had the same pieces in place. He had the same weapons at his disposal. I know he still had Mike Evans and all that back then, but if you look at all the other players that have been added since then, it really kind of draws into question, was Jameis just a really horrible quarterback? And if so, how come he is having at least limited success with New Orleans? And what should the Bucs expect from that Saints team on Sunday? Just watching that game, it was quite the resilience of Jameis Winston to come back, and they ended up squeaking out and winning that game. So don't write off Jameis Winston as a horrible quarterback as of right now. And I know this is a Buccaneers podcast, but Jameis was the quarterback for this Buccaneers team for quite a few years. But just a really kind of awe-inspiring thing when you watched him play on Sunday, where that team was able to turn it around. It was a pretty good start for the Bucs' new look O-line Sunday, even with Donovan Smith leaving in the second quarter. 2 sacks allowed, 152 rushing yards. Since Tom Brady arrived, the Bucs are 23-3 when he sacked 2 or fewer times in a game. And, the thing I'll say about the Bucs game is they did end up picking up the W. They ate a W, as Jameis would say. But the thing of it is that there wasn't much of a pass game. And, Todd Bowles talked about it as much as the Bucs did with what they had. If there wasn't a passing game available, then they were going to run it. And Lord knows Leonard Fournette does that. He ran a ton in this last game. And, it kind of makes you wonder why he didn't alternate in more different running backs at their disposal. But in any event, Leonard Fournette held up really well. And I hope that there can be more of a passing game against New Orleans on Sunday, because, for one, those are more exciting games to watch. I mean, we did get brief glimpses of that when we saw Tom Brady airing out the football to Mike Evans with that, amazing catch. That was the front line of, all the NFL press out there was Mike Evans' catch, just that arm above his head. I don't know how they do that. It's just, it blows my mind. And then also, some other plays out there that came to mind as well. But hopefully we can see more of that from Tom Brady and the Buccaneers as we go forward here. The other story that is out there is that Lenny leans left, next gen look at Bucs. And, just kind of taking a look back on Sunday's game. Leonard Fournette had one of his best games as a Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Sunday night's season opener win in Dallas. And as team writer Brianna Dix noted in her article, he found a lot of success running behind, pulling guards and centers. More often than not, those moving blockers were rumbling to their left. And, I was watching the presser with Devin White, and he was talking about, we had success because we watched game film, and this is how they play. And guess what? That's how they played this year. So that's why they had the success that they had out there. And they exploited the Dallas Cowboys in those things. Fournette ran for 127 yards on 21 carries against the Cowboys, ending with a neat 6.05 yards per attempt. According to NFL Next Gen Stats, 85 of those yards came on 10 carries outside the left tackle. All of the subsequent statistics will be courtesy of Next Gen Stats. That's compared to 26 yards on 6 tries inside the left tackle, 11 yards on 3 runs inside the right tackle, and 5 yards on 2 carries outside the right tackle. Obviously, that speaks well for tackles Donovan Smith and Josh Wells. This is what I'm talking about. This is why we need Donovan Smith out there. Smith left with an elbow injury midway through the second quarter, as well as rookie left guard Luke Gadecki and other blockers who were pulling on the play. It was also nice for a performance by the Buccaneers tight ends Cameron Brate, 42 plays, Cade Otton, 30 plays, and Cole Keeft, 16, because 71.4 of Fournette's runs were to the strong side of an unbalanced line. And, you got to think, to a certain extent, you saw what was going wrong. The Dallas Cowboys saw what was going wrong. What did they do to fix those problems? Nothing. And you want to know something? I really don't care. The Bucs won. But just as, a fan of the NFL in general, you kind of look at that and you think to yourself, you see what's going wrong there. And it just seems like the Cowboys did nothing to address those issues. And it is most interesting what their thought process was there. All right. So after the break here, we are going to continue to talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I have the latest on the Tom Brady, Gisele Bunsen situation, and also that interesting story about why they didn't trade Tom Brady sooner. out in New England. We'll talk about that next. The Performance Package 4.0 has arrived, and oh man, is it a game changer. Inside this package, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 Weed Whacker, ear and nose trimmer, hair plus crop preserver ball deodorant, crop reviver toner, performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold your goodies. First off, the Lawnmower 4.0 is the trimmer of the future, and dare I say the greatest ball trimmer ever. Their fourth generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents. Thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology, the Lawnmower 4.0 is waterproof and also has a 4000K LED spotlight you need for a more precise shave. Because this trimmer is waterproof, you can say goodbye to the mess on the bathroom floor. You thought that was good, but you want to take your grooming game even further to the next level. The Performance Package 4.0 also includes the Weed Whacker nose and hair trimmer. The Weed Whacker is also waterproof and provides a proprietary skin-safe technology which helps reduce nicks, snags, and tugs in those delicate holes. Their Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant and Crop Reviver Ball Toner will change the way you approach your hygiene. Trust me when I say this, fellas, your balls will thank you. Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts to their performance package, the Manscaped Boxer Briefs and the Shed Travel Bag. Bring your comfort and boxers to another level. It's time to take care of yourself, so go to manscaped.com and get 20% off plus free with promo code MinuteCast. So get 20% off and free shipping with the promo code MinuteCast at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use promo code MINUTECAST. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. All right, welcome back into this edition of the Bucs Daily MinuteCast. This is the midweek edition as we are edging our way towards game day on Sunday. It is going to be a most interesting game. So the other big story out there, and I don't mean to make this kind of a soap opera drama podcast, but Tom Brady is the quarterback of your Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he is married to Gisele Bündchen. So news surrounding them is important to the team because, as you know, happy wife, happy life. And if you saw Tom Brady when they were fighting, he was not happy. He was not his normal dialed-in self. You know, normally he is very smooth, calm, cool, and collected, and he had the right answers for everything. But what did we see with Tom Brady when things weren't going well at home? His hair was all messed up, and he's using 4-letter words. So the adage is true, and hopefully Tom can work some things out at home. This was a story in CBS where Gisele finally breaks silence on Tom Brady's decision to come out of retirement for at least one more season, and I have a reason to believe that it is only going to be one more season. You know, at the end of the day, and I've talked to people about this, he has 7 Super Bowl rings. So say he wins another one, he's going to have 8. And, you know, is that a magic number for him? I respect that he wants to come back. I hope he can win another Super Bowl with this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. Will he be able to do that? That remains to be seen. But on to this story. Gisele hasn't had much to say publicly about her husband's decision to return to football this year. But the wife of Tom Brady finally has broken her silence on the matter. During a recent interview with Elle magazine, Gisele gave her thoughts on Brady's decision to come out of retirement back in March. One big thing that she noticed is that she would like the Buccaneers quarterback to be more present in family life. Obviously, I have my concerns. This is a very violent sport, and I have my children, and I would love him to be more present, Gisele told the magazine. I have definitely had those conversations with him over and over again. And, you know, she is a woman that has a strong opinion on things, and we've seen Tom Brady on the field. He is a guy with a strong personality as well. So sometimes those things fight with each other. And I know that Tom Brady is in love with football, but he also made the decision to get married. He made the decision to have children. You know, as much as I love the Buccaneers and him on the quarterback, you know, as being a guy, as being a married guy, as being a guy with children, I can relate to this story, you know, that he obviously still needs to be there for his wife and honor the commitment that he made to her and that he made to their children. And, you know, at the end of the day, if he can get another Super Bowl with this Bucs team, you know, that's awesome. And I would love nothing more than that. But I think at the end of the day, he is going to be 45, and he needs to think about his life outside of football as well. Although she clearly seems to be in the situation where she wants Brady to be around more, she also added that when it comes to football, he needed to make a decision that was right for him. And that was kind of my takeaway on that. Is I thought to me that he kind of unretired and maybe didn't bounce it off her first of all, or maybe she gave the answer. And if you're a married guy, you can relate to this. Do whatever you want. And maybe he's like, okay, I am going to do whatever I want, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to play football. And well, that hasn't simmered so well in the Brady household there. Ultimately, I feel that everyone has the decision that works for them. Gisele said he needs to follow his joy too. As you'll notice, Gisele didn't say exactly what she was on board with the decision. Brady's decision to play football this year has reportedly caused some strife in the relationship. According to the New York Post, the interview with Elle was held before the Buccaneers started training camp, which is notable because it means that it was before Brady left the team for 11 days in August. And we kind of know all about that story. Is that there was a vacation planned with him and his wife, and he is honoring that commitment. And according to everything we hear around the Buccaneers, they knew about that first as well. So, we really can't, fault him in that. Brady was asked about his absence in late August, and that's when he gave one of his most famous interviews ever. I'm 45 years old, man. There's a lot of shit going on, Brady said. So you just have to try to figure it out life the best way you can. It's a continuous process. And I can say that I'm a man of his age as well. And I got to tell you, as being, a guy that lives a life, a married life, and a guy that has a 9-to-5 job, there is a lot of shit going on. And sometimes it gets more compounded. The older you get, you're tired. You don't necessarily always have the energy for this kind of stuff. So I can, that's kind of where it starts and ends for me and Tom Brady. The comparables, other than that, all-star. Anyway, I'm just comparing my life to his a little bit here. According to NFL.com, Brady spent most of his time off at a private resort in the Bahamas with his family. Brady's first game of the NFL season was on Sunday night, and although Gisele wasn't in attendance, she did tweet out her support before kickoff. During the Let's Go podcast on Monday, Brady seemed to lament the many things that he's had to miss due to football over his career. And, you hear about this all the time about seeing your kids get older while you're away doing this, or, you hear about this about traveling musicians as well. So, you got to kind of take stock. I'm a guy that has 2 young children at home too, and you do see them get older. I couldn't imagine being away for lengthy periods of time and then coming back and seeing them get older and older since the last time I saw him. I know that he's got all the money in the world, and I'm sure he jets back and forth and meets up, but, in any case, it's good that he's able to be there with his children. I haven't had a Christmas in 23 years, and I haven't had a Thanksgiving in 23 years, Brady told ESPN. I haven't celebrated birthdays with people that I care about that are, born from August to late January. And you know what? I'm not able to be at funerals, and I'm not able to be at weddings. And I think there comes a point in your life when you say, you know what? I had my fill, and it's enough, and time to go on to move on to other parts in my life. And that's kind of just what I'm talking about, is just kind of, he had his fun. He's been doing this since he's in college and high school, for God's sakes. He's had all this the success in the world. He should have nothing on his list to check off at the end of the day. He is the greatest quarterback of all time. And I do not think that there is an active quarterback in the NFL that is ever going to take that crown away from him for at least some time. Brady will be a free agent after the 2022 season, but that doesn't mean he'll sign with anyone. Every time he talks, the quarterback sounds more like a guy who will be ready to retire for a second time after the season. So, when you think about it with Tom Brady, I understand the situation that he's in, and it's like I say, they're not always easy decisions to make, and especially a guy in his situation where he is the greatest of all time. Sometimes you have to kind of start to draw into question, was this all worth it? Was it worth it to unretire? What if I don't meet my end goal of winning another Super Bowl? So tough questions for him to answer as he's aging. And, I think the hardest thing for Brady right now is he realizes that he is coming up on the end of a career that has been his life for so many years, that, those are some tough decisions to have to answer. All right, so after the break here, we're going to continue to talk about more Tom Brady news. There isn't a lot of other news going on around the Bucs as I record this morning, but we'll talk a little bit more about Tom's time in New England. We'll talk about that next. All right, welcome back into this edition of the Bucs Daily MinuteCast. I'm so glad you decided to join me today, as this podcast is sponsored to you by Manscaped. Get 20% off plus free shipping when you use promo code MinuteCast. And while they're, I want to give my hats off and thanks to Manscaped for sponsoring these independent podcasts. This podcast has no major affiliations with any of the major podcast platforms or companies, shall I say, out there. So thank you to Manscaped for stepping up and helping sponsor these shows. Once again, get 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com when you use promo code MinuteCast. All right, so in the following segment here, we're going to talk about Tom Brady in New England. This was a story in the Bleacher Report. Tom House says Bill Belichick asked him why he shouldn't trade Tom Brady at age 36. And, there is always been some kind of controversy between those two and, great success between the two of them. But I have heard that Bill Belichick is a bit of a difficult man to work for or be a player under. And, just kind of these daggers that are coming in kind of after the fact. Bill Belichick apparently entertained the idea of getting rid of Tom Brady long before the future Hall of Famer quarterback wound up leaving the New England Patriots. Appearing on the Rich Eisen show, pitching coach Tom Brady said Bill Belichick once asked him around the time Brady was 36 or 37 years old why the Patriots shouldn't trade their franchise star. House, a former Major League Baseball pitcher, is best known for his work as a coach. He was primarily coached pitchers, but he added a large group of NFL quarterbacks to his network in recent years. Per the official bio on nationalpitching.com, House was key in developing comprehensive science-based technology to train pitchers with a mix of human development, physical preparation, and training programs to help pitchers and rotational athletes improve their skills. In 2014, House revealed during an appearance on Sirius XM NFL radio that Brady started working with him looking for a 1% gain or just to hang on to what he's already got as a player. What was happening? He was noticing his accuracy and his long ball weren't what they were 3 or 4 years ago, House said. So we brought him to the computer, compared him to the models we have created for movement efficiency, and there were really, really small things that were causing issues. Depending on when Belichick posted the question, the Patriots may have had a succession plan already in place. Brady turned 37 1 month before the start of the 2014 season. That was the same year they used a second-round draft pick to select Jimmy Garoppolo. Even though the Patriots remained a successful franchise, they did go 10 years between Super Bowl titles from 2004 to 2014. They were in Super Bowl twice and AFC championship games 5 times during that span. ESPN's Seth Wickersham noted in January 2018 that Belichick didn't support dealing Garoppolo to the San Francisco 49ers midway through the 2017 season, but relented after receiving a clear mandate from the Patriots owner Robert Kraft in a meeting prior to the trade deadline. Brady wound up leading the Patriots to 3 more Super Bowl titles from 14 to 19. Before leaving the franchise as a free agent in March 2020, he won another championship in his first season with the Bucs. After a 40-day retirement during the offseason, Brady announced he was returning for a 23rd season at age 45. The 3-time NFL MVP became the oldest quarterback to start a game in league history in the Bucs' 19-3 win over the Dallas Cowboys in Week 1. And if you watched that game, you saw that Tom Brady still has an arm. He still has one hell of an arm. When he aired out that pass to Mike Evans, and they show his release time. I don't know if you guys watched the game. They broke down his release point over the years, and it's minuscule change. So there is not a lot that's changed with Tom Brady from the beginning of his career to the end of his career. In my opinion, what I've noticed, and in some cases, I think he's actually become a better quarterback. So Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft and that Patriots organization is in a bit of a mess right now. If you saw that kind of embarrassing defeat to the Dolphins, that's not Tom Brady's Patriots anymore. And I think that the Dolphins are going to be a team to look out for. They got that new, young, up-and-coming coach there. I think that is going to be another one of the teams to kind of keep an eye on this year. Kind of a sleeper team, kind of, one of the teams out there that you probably like. The Miami Dolphins. What the hell are you talking about, Dan? They suck. Hey, maybe not so much this year. Even the worst teams, every dog has its day. And maybe this is the Miami Dolphins year. I hope it's not. I hope it's the Bucs. But just, kind of widening the lens out here a little bit, taking a look around the NFL, I will say I did watch portions of that Dolphins game, and they looked pretty good. Are they going to be good enough to win it all? Let's not get crazy. But I did think that they looked pretty good. All right. Once again, thank you for joining me on this edition of the Bucs Daily MinuteCast. Again, go to manscaped.com and get 20% off plus free shipping when you use promo code MinuteCast. All right. Once again, thank you for joining me on this edition, and I'll talk to you again next time.